first movie I remember seeing. The first movie that I remember seeing is probably either Singing in the Rain or Jesus Christ Superstar. And, that's pretty stereotypical as an actor, but those were both movies that my family used to watch Jesus Christ Superstar every single Easter. That was like our one religious thing that we did as a family. And then Singing in the Rain, my mom obviously just kind of forced upon us, and then we realized it was a fantastic movie. So I actually used to have a hat when I was young that I called my Gene Kelly hat, and I used to dance around my living room and try and emulate that. And now I'm still not a very good dancer, but I think it influenced a lot of my acting persona. I mean, there's a lot of movies that I've seen over the years that I've seen, I saw Black Swan recently, and, there's been a lot of great movies that the movie ends and you just say, oh, wow, that was something, that was, the acting or the cinematography or something made you really question humanity or think about yourself in some way. But I feel like the first movie that ever really made me consider the artistry of acting and the artistry of film, it was the old black and white film Eraserhead. So my dad used to make me watch all sorts of black and white movies when I was younger. We watched Citizen Kane together, and we also watched Eraserhead. We used to go to the old movie rental place where you could get all the wacky movies. And I remember watching this movie and having absolutely no idea what was going on, but that I really liked it, and that I really liked the idea of something that could take you out of your normal everyday life and make you think about the world in a completely artistic and creative manner that didn't necessarily have a narrative sensibility or logical framework, but that was purely something magical that made you feel a certain way about your life. And Eraserhead was really weird, but also very artistically inspiring at the same time. I honestly think it was here at UP, because I started taking acting classes, and I had come here to be a theater major because I could tell that there was something that really drove my work ethic to inspire me to not only enjoy being on stage, but actually practice the work outside of rehearsal and outside of class. And I think it was probably from the first day of acting class when the acting coach here, Mindy Logan, told us the definition of acting, which was to do truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And previous to this, we had gone through a whole slew of definitions trying to figure out what acting meant. And she finally, of course, none of us could guess it, and she finally gave us the answer. And there was something about it that was very settling to me, to know that there was something that I could do that was guaranteed to have truth in it and have an aspect of reality that nobody else could capture in, an everyday job. And so I knew that this was something that I just had to do. What actor do I aspire to be like? I really aspire to be like Cary Grant, I think, because he is just one of those actors that is just irresistible to watch on screen, because he's constantly evaluating what's going on around him in this very confused yet charming manner. And I feel like that emulates my personality a lot in everyday life. And any movie that I've seen him in, I'm always just amazed by the subtlety of his acting, and from moment to moment just constantly checking in with every single thing, just making sure that everything's all right, and yet he's still so charming and just carries himself so well on camera. So I think I would love to be like Cary Grant, and he had a fantastic career. So I chose to come to UP because I am from Portland, and so it not only allowed me to live here and have the support of my family and maintain connections that I had already established in high school from doing shows around town, but also I went and auditioned for the program, and I met Mindy, the acting coach, and I had recommendations from my high school drama teacher who knew about the department and knew it was a small, concise acting department that really got you to get out of your shell and really taught you how to act and taught you the artistry of it. And that's really what I was looking for. I was looking for something that was going to get me to open myself up and teach me how to share my feelings and how to do all these things that make a person an actor. And I loved the idea of it being a small class size, and I loved the idea of it being in Portland and on this beautiful campus. And it worked out really well because I've gotten to do lots of work around town based on connections and recommendations that started all the way back in high school. So I am very happy that I came to UP. This is a hard question. I think I don't know, it varies. I feel like every role that I get, I'm getting farther and farther into the craft of being an actor, especially, some of the larger roles that I've had. And every time you do a role, it feels like, oh, this one was so much better than the last one because I know all of these things that I knew from doing that role. And then, of course, you go to the next role and you're like, oh, but now I'm so much more worldly in this sense, and I can do all this kind of stuff now. But if I had to choose, I would probably say Florindo in Servant of Two Masters, because that was just such a crazy, fun show, and we were in masks, and it was stylized. So it was the kind of show where you could just let everything go and just have fun with an audience and have fun with the actors on stage. And I think we took that to the limit, if not a little bit too far sometimes. I would say to a freshman coming into UP that, particularly in the theater department, if that's what you're interested in doing, that be ready to learn. I mean, we come to college to learn about all these other things, and it's a liberal arts college, so they're driving you around 10 different places at once. You learn about, religious things, you learn about philosophy things, you learn about all sorts of whatever to fill all these requirements. However, if you're coming here for the acting, you're going to learn most about yourself, really. And the funny thing about acting is that what I've discovered here at UP is that when you play all these other roles, all these people that are nothing like you, for some crazy reason, it ends up bringing out more stuff about yourself that you never even could possibly imagine. And it's been fantastic. And I think every single role, every single play, every single class that I take here has done something to make me blossom more as an artist and be able to understand the world around me and the people around me and understand how to convey that in a play or any kind of performance, artistic, whatever. So it's great. After I graduate, I will be attending the UC Irvine MFA acting program with a full scholarship, full ride down there in Orange County. And I just got done, the semester before last I had a class called Graduate Prep, which is basically just a class hanging out with Mindy Logan, our acting coach, and her just telling us, all right, this is what you need to do. You guys are gonna go to New York and you're gonna audition for all these things, and you're gonna spread your net really wide and just basically see what sticks. And we had to make a list of all of our schools that we thought were the best in the nation and that we really, really wanted to go to. So UC Irvine was actually a consensus amongst the entire class, I think, that it was a good school. And I think there was 3 of us that ended up privately auditioning for it. And it was always one of my top schools after I researched it. And so we went to New York for a week and a half and did all these auditions, and I did a private audition with them, and then I got a call back, and then they called me a couple days later and offered me a part there in the freshman class, and it's only an 8-person program, so bigger school with a lot more money, but still the small class size like here at UP, and I'm very excited about that.
Are you looking to get more into, are you open, or where do you see yourself progressing as an actor? Is that, I mean,
In terms
you
of
say, yeah, like
genre? Or
genre, but also is it you looking more film, you looking more,
Mm.
or is it pretty much, hey, whatever I can get, or ideally, yeah.
Well, at this age, it's pretty much, hey, whatever I can get. But ideally, after UC Irvine, we do a showcase in New York and LA, and ideally, I want to get an agent in LA and move to LA and do the whole film thing. I love the film industry, and I love the subtlety of the acting in film. Theater's a completely different animal in terms of acting, depending on how large your house is, but there's something about film that's so human. There's something so personal and intimate about having the camera be right here that it's very exciting. It allows you to take the time to really get the exact shot, the exact scene, the exact character that you want, as opposed to stage where, you just kind of have to go out there and dump it all out there in 2 hours. Not that I don't love stage. I love stage, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't do stage in the future, but there's something about film that I haven't quite figured out that I'm excited to learn more about. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Good. Okay. All right, that's one hard-hitting personal question.
Okay, we're good.
What's your background? Where did you grow up? What's your ethnic background as far as my parents are French? Or,
Well, we're not really sure because my grandfather was adopted, and he doesn't like to talk about his adopted parents, so no one's ever talked to him about it. So it's kind of a mystery. But I do know that I am Scottish. My grandmother's maiden name is MacGregor. I am Swedish. I am like 1/16 Native American, but apparently our tribe was very white, so I don't tan well. I also am just kind of a mutt of European stuff. I'm from Portland, as I said. I grew up in Northeast, and then we moved to Beaverton. I went to Sunset High School over there, and then I moved back across the river and came to UP. And my family, my dad was a videographer for Oregon Public Broadcasting, so I grew up basically having a television studio at my disposal to go on weekends and film little movies with my friends for school projects or go and watch my dad work. And my mother has always been extremely supportive and into arts and musicals, and from when we were little kids, she always had us doing weird Christmas shows and stuff like that. So we kind of just grew up around that atmosphere, and so it kind of came out of left field that I got into acting. But now that I think about it, it was pretty ingrained since we were kids that the arts were for us. My sister's a dancer, so we like to be on stage and have people watch us. Weird, but awesome.